Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Brighton Podcast. It's your boy, Jamie G, joined by the man himself, Blessings Chibamba. Bless, how are we feeling today?
Yeah, good. It's a bit of a weird one, isn't it, talking about the FA Cup? But yeah, we're here for it.
Yeah, it makes a bit of a change than talking about Premier League games. I think this is the first time the FA Cup's been on a weekend, because I think the last round was midweek, wasn't it? And now I think this is the first time we've played it on the weekend anyway. It's probably the lower league teams have probably played it on the weekend. But yeah, it's interesting to see the magic of the FA Cup back, and hopefully we can make a run in the Cup. I think with our squad depth, we actually have the ability to make a run in this Cup and actually take it seriously and try and get a trophy to our name. I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity, to be honest, for the fans to get something to have something to shout about again. I am slowly beginning to think our season's sinking into mediocre in terms of our results, where we win a game, we draw here, and then we lose 3 on the bounce or something. And if that continues on to March, that kind of sort of end of season time, it's going to be a real tough grind watching Brighton, to be honest.
Yeah. And do you know what, though? If there's ever a good time for the FA Cup to come, it's now. We haven't won in, 8 games? We've been resultless in the Premier League. If anything, it actually could have come a bit earlier. This will hopefully give the players a bit of a confidence booster. If we can get a win under our belt and we can progress to the next round, hopefully they can take that result onto the next game. And that's the FA Cup, just need confidence to build, and then we can hopefully start playing some good football again.
Mate, that's it, mate. And the magic of the FA Cup isn't just going on a mad run and winning it. It's sometimes using it to change your fortunes in form for league form as well. So, again, we'll probably talk about rotation, but I doubt there'll be much, to be honest.
Yeah, we're going to go through in this podcast the lineups that we kind of expect to see out there, some potential names that we could see called up to the starting lineup just to get some minutes under their belt, and then also talk about the team that we are playing. It is Norwich, so it might not be the easiest game because I think Norwich are a pretty solid team based on some highlights I've watched. I'm not going to act like I'm some aficionado in watching them play or some expert in Norwich football, but some highlights that I've watched, some star players that have stood out for them this season, and then also what our score predictions are. So we'll start with it, Bless. Talk to me about who you can see stepping into the lineup for this next game.
Yeah, it's an interesting one in terms of that I don't think Norwich are that much of a bad side. So I think we still need to show them a little bit of respect and not make wholesale changes. It'll be good to see my shout for sensible transfers, who's not a transfer. Conville, it'll be good to see him get some minutes. The youngster, it'll be good to see him, finally getting involved in the first team. And also the likes of Adingra as well, just need more minutes just in general. Minte, expect him to start because he hasn't played too much recently. But yeah, no, just a few players who you'd want to start. But I don't really want to see wholesale changes. I think, although they're not doing that great in the league, I think Norwich is still a decent side. So I don't want us to overlook them just yet, especially because it's an away tie as well.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right in that, because this could be a banana slip game. We see it every single season where Premier League teams overlook the Championship clubs, and then they get beaten because the Championship clubs are there to actually go on a run, give their fans a fixture against one of the big 6, let's say. Whereas we obviously take that, or Premier League teams in general take that a lot for granted, where they would then play their bench. And then, obviously, Norwich's first team could easily beat our bench, let's say, or whatever Premier League team's bench. So this is always a tricky one. It's not like if it was a League One team or a League Two team, then I'll be more than happy them rolling out like all the reserves, all the bench, and then feeling pretty confident of getting a result. Whereas a championship team who I think are in 9th or 11th, one of the two, I'll look it up in a minute, and they've one of the top scorers in the championship as well. They have some really good players that we'll touch on later. It's a game that we could easily drop, like if we're not careful, and if we do just roll out some players that haven't had any minutes, or some players that, if we make wholesale changes in the squad, like you say.
Yeah, and that's it. And they'll look at it as well as, okay, we've got Premier League opposition coming. They're not in good form. We're at home. They will fancy it. They'll be well up for it. Especially, again, they've not really had anything to be screaming about as well, because their league form is probably not where they want to be. They'll be up for this one. They'll be thinking, if we can get past this one, this is not a decent tie for us because we're at home. Maybe we can get a Man United away. Do you know what I mean? Get a big fixture after.
Yeah, I think the players that I would like to see, or not that I would like to see, the players I think will start is Adam Webster. I think this will be a game where he can get some minutes out, just to, keep him happy. And it's a championship side. I think he's a championship level player. So I think, no offense, I'm just shooting stray shots to Adam
Stray
Webster
shots
every
for no
episode.
reason.
Apologies, Adam. If we ever meet, I will be nice to you. And I hope you don't hate me from this podcast. But I think this is kind of the game for him. And I'm actually on board with your shout of giving the young kids some minutes. Like, I'm not sure about starting. I think it could be like Igor and Webster. But if he were to come on, get him some first team minutes, and that'll be good. Some other players I think will start. In Ciso, we saw him shine a little bit in the Premier League when he got his first start. I think this is a competition made for him, build his confidence, and where he can kind of shine. I can see Evan Ferguson's, I think, might still be injured, but would have been good to get him some minutes. Although the injury report that I'm looking at here says 2nd of January is meant to return. So it's now we're recording on the 8th. So God knows if he will be fit. But it's a kind of game where he can hopefully build his confidence. We can see something in him like we've seen before, and he can kind of dominate against a lesser opposition, against like Shane Duffy. Don't know how he's still playing. 33 years old.
Yeah, what a throwback. Shane Duffy, wow.
He's played 26 matches for them. And then this is another shout. Another player, I'm not sure if he's healthy or not, but I think this is going to be the first start for Diego Gomez from Inter Miami. He's gone from playing with the likes of Messi, Busquets, Suarez, and then he's going to get rolled out with Evan Ferguson, Enciso, and probably Gruder or Adingra. I mean, what a time. What a time for the kid.
Yeah, what an entry to English football as well. Carrow Road.
Yeah.
Most random ground, I'd say.
To be fair, no, that's actually, bringing on that point. Remember Matt O'Reilly got he got rolled out against Crawley Town in the League Cup, and that's where he got absolutely crunched and sidelined for a month and a half. If I see that with Diego Gomez, if he gets a start and I see Kenny McLean crunch him within minute 20, I'm thinking it's just bad luck for us. People actually have it in for us, and they're just trying to injure our new signings. That would be very unfortunate. But I think this will be a good game for him to kind of integrate into English football, and then we can see how he does, and then hope maybe even start him in a bigger game against a Premier League side. But we will be back after this short ad, and we'll talk about the danger that Norwich do pose.
Here at Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform. Zencastr came out Here at Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform. Zencastr came out the clear winner. 4K video.
And that was an absolute shambles. But there we go. We are back from the ad break. Zencastr is the ad and is sponsoring our videos. We're very thankful for Zencastr. Thank you very much. So, Bless. I guess we'll move on to the Norwich We haven't watched a lot of them because we're too busy watching Brighton for our fans. But in the highlights that you have watched, in the things that you do know about Norwich, what stood out to you, and who are some of their danger men that we should watch out for?
Yeah, I think on the whole, I think, like I've said in the last segment, I think they're probably a little bit disappointed at where they are. I think they would probably be looking at playoffs this season, but they've just not really been at it at times, not really consistent. I'd highlight Josh Sargent, who's a decent player. He's a USA international as well. He's quick. He likes to press as well. He likes to be busy up front, so he'll just be all over the place. And it's those kinds of players you just want to watch out for these type of FA Cup games, because when the fans are well up for it, they're going to be cheering if he nicks something, they'll be cheering that. They'll be nibbling on that. For an occasion like this, it's a massive game for them. So like every little bit he's sort of doing and up front and being busy, they'll be loving that. So we got to keep a close eye on him, I think.
Yeah, 100%. And you mentioned they've had an interesting season. They have had 9 draws, 9 wins, 8 losses. So it feels like you just from a fan's perspective for them, just looking on the outside, it feels like there's difficult to predict. You don't know what you're going to get from them week in, week out. It could either be a win, loss, or a draw, as it could be with any team. That was a Partridge moment or a Michael Owen moment. But yeah, they've had an interesting season. 36 points, sat in 11th. Still only 3 points off the playoffs, or 4 points off the playoffs. So there's still a chance for them to go up. I think their star man this season has been Borja Sainz. He's the top goal scorer in the championship with 15 goals. And he looks like from every highlight that you watch, he looks like a menace going forward. He will stand your man up and he will whip balls in, like his finesse balls into the far corner quite well. That's just based off highlights, like I say. And yeah, he looks a danger when he is running at championship defenders anyway, going for either cutting in, and yeah, that's all I've got to say on him. I don't know much else other than that.
Yeah, no,
That's
I'll totally agree with you. He looks very good, and a thought that's just popped into my head as well. Like, if we were to sort of get rid of or lose Matoma, what a brilliant audition this could be for this young man, because he is valued at like £11 million. He is, I reckon, I think, is it his first season at Norwich? Do you know?
I think it's his second. This is his second season, yeah.
Good. So he if a bid was to come in, they would consider it because it's his second season. But yeah, he looks like a decent player as well. 15 goals in the championship, playing off the left wing, pretty decent to be fair. He looks like the man we probably have to watch a little bit more than my Josh Sargent shout.
Hey, don't underestimate Josh Sargent. You are right. Even throw back to his when he was in the Premier League, like he was also quite good in the air. Josh Sargent, I'm pretty sure he's very tall and just won a lot of flick-ons. And that's kind of like you say, a lot of their goals have probably come from Sargent flicking it on to Borja Sainz, who's then in on goal. I think there's other players that have played in the Premier League before. So they've got Marcondes, who played for Bournemouth and Brentford in the past. He's still in the Championship, but he's a very solid Championship player. He's been promoted with both Brentford and Bournemouth, so he's not to be tutted at or overlooked either, even though he's never really shone in the Premier League. And then they've also got, like I said earlier, Kenny McLean, who has been, based on just rating numbers, their top performer this season. And from what I can remember about Kenny McLean playing in the Premier League anyway, and I'm sure it's not much has changed. It was only 3 seasons ago they were in the Premier League, but the guy loves a tackle. The guy's not terrible on the ball. Like, he's a working man's player. Like a lesser John McGinn. Gets about, puts himself in positions to just keep the play ticking, and then also just likes to be strong in a tackle. So he can't be overlooked either. It's not going to be an easy midfield battle against Marcondes and Kenny McLean if we do play, let's say, Whiffer and another player that's just trying to get into the team, or even Gomez. It's going to be a difficult one for him if it is his first game.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And like McLean's your typical Scottish midfielder, like just hustling, tackling, do you know what I mean, getting
Yeah,
involved. And that makes me think as well, then it's like if we've talked about a little bit about respecting them and not really making wholesale changes. Because that midfield, they are quite aggressive. I'd imagine Norwich in the way they play, and it's a typical Championship team as well. So you know what you're going to get. Do you think we need to then play Belieber then?
Nah, I don't think. I think this is too easy for Belieber.
Famous
Belieber
last
should
words.
be rested. We need to put some ice on those big old legs of his and, rub his feet, do whatever he wants. Just keep him in January to begin with. Like, give him a new contract offer. Do whatever it takes to keep Belieber healthy and ticking. But yeah, no, I don't think this is a game for him. I think Whiffer's played in the Champions League before. If he can't handle, no disrespect to Kenny McLean, I know I've just bigged him up a little bit, but if he can't deal with Kenny McLean, then we really do need to start looking for a refund, because that's unacceptable, quite frankly. This is the moment, hopefully, where Matt Swiffer actually steps up and shows the quality that he did have at Feyenoord and why we paid £30 million for him.
Yeah, I mean, when you get a player with that kind of fee and you're now considering whether or not he's going to do it right in this kind of fixture,
Yeah.
it's a little bit scary. And it's a weird one because our scouts and the way the players we get, we're rarely disappointed in like their performance levels. But Matt Swiffer just has not kicked on, so
At all.
we
Yeah.
have to see him being head and shoulders the best player in the midfield in this game, in my opinion.
Yeah, and some of the things as well about Norwich, they are, like we said earlier, a difficult team, especially going forward. They have scored the third most in the Championship with 43, 1.7 per game. They also are a team like us that like to play possession style football. They're third also in the Championship for that, only behind Leeds and Swansea, keeping 58% possession per game. So like we said, McLean and Marcondes, and I think they have another one called Nunes,
Nunes, yeah.
who would be interesting. I'm interested to see what he's actually like, because I've heard good things about him just on from my friend that's a Norwich fan. He's bigged him up, but it's going to be interesting to see. They clearly do control the midfield a lot in the Championship, and they're all capable of playing. But it's interesting to see how they'll deliver or what they'll do against a Premier League team with expensive signings in terms of Whiffer, in terms of Gomez if he does play, in Ciso as well, who's a hot shot, and how they actually control that midfield there. But yeah, I'm interested to see what the game will be like. I think it'll be very even. I would say that. I'm expecting a very even game, and we'll go on to our score predictions after this short ad.
This podcast is part of the Global Sports Podcast Network, the only network bringing you exclusive daily news and
exclusive daily news on your favourite club is what he was meant to say at the end there. And we are back with the Daily Brighton podcast. Bless, we'll kick off straight to it. What are your score predictions for this game?
I am expecting it to be quite cagey at the start, with Norwich, making life very difficult for us. That's what I'm hoping we defend well. But I see us just having enough quality to get by, and 2-1 win.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm agreeing. I will agree with you. I think it'll be a very tight affair, but like you say, I think our quality will step up, and will they score? I was going to go 2-0, but then I'm thinking, having said what I've said about maybe playing Webster, Igor, and McCormick, is that McConville? What did you say yesterday? McConville. If he does get minutes, then I could see it being 2-1 as well. But I think I'll stick, just to be different. I'll go 2-0 away win, and then on to the next round. And then that will hopefully give us the confidence to push on.
Yeah, no, I like that. I think that could be possible. Not to overlook Norwich, but who would you want in the next round?
A League One team. Give me something easy. I mean, Norwich is a banana peel. I don't want any banana peels. I don't want a big match. I've had enough of big matches. You know, we get them in the Premier League every time. I want an easy time in this cup competition. I just want to play League One teams: Stevenage, Cambridge, Leighton Orient. Give me
All the
one
bridges.
of them. All the bridges. We'll conquer the bridges. Who do you want? Surely you don't want someone difficult.
No. I don't know. I love cup competitions, so I'd love to see us go far in this. So, like, yeah, again, I want the draw to be kind to us. I want, the lowest ranked opposition you can get is what I'm looking for.
Hey, what's that team that got through? Oh, I'm trying to find it. Was it Tamworth? That's it. Tamworth are playing Tottenham. Yeah. If Tamworth can pull off Tottenham, if they get through, even though they are charging extortionate ticket prices for their local fans, I'll happily go to Tamworth and watch a game, and then we can hopefully batter them. That's the kind of games I want. And then in the round after, Dagenham and Redbridge are still in the competition. Harrogate. That's my mum's hometown. There we go. Bromley, give me some of these teams to make it easy for us. Because like you say, we've got the depth, I think, to go far in this competition. And this is what I'd never understand about teams on our level that play subs. Like later on in the competition that play like fully sub teams. It's like we haven't won a trophy for time. Like, this is an opportunity for us to win something, especially when the Premier League is looking so hit and miss. Players where teams are all very close to each other and all the quality is very similar. This is an opportunity where I feel we can go to places and actually beat them week in, week out.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. But again, rotation is important because think about how our season would be in absolute shatters if Carl Speleva got injured because we played.
Oh yeah, no, we can rest him until the hard teams.
Yeah. I mean, like if we lost him for like let's say like 3-4 months, that is tough. That's a big hit, and our league form will suffer as well. So it's like you've got to be careful with everyone, even João Pedro as well. If we lost João Pedro, or even Van Heck as well, if we lost any of those three, it's tough going, I think, from there. So you've got to be careful with those three. But also we want a cup run, so you've got to do both, Fabian.
Yeah, there we go. And that is a message to you, Mr. Hertzler. Thank you very much, guys, for listening. We apologise for not being fully brushed up on our Norwich knowledge, but we hope it's been useful for you anyway, and we look forward to the cup game and bring on the magic of the FA Cup. Signing out from me, and that's been Blessings Chabamba. Peace out.
Yeah, thanks.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.